Hey, John Dillon here from visualbroccoli.com. Well, welcome. This lesson is really not as much a lesson, but more so a tutorial on how to use some PowerPoint game templates that I have demonstrated or shown in some of my live classroom sessions that I'm making available to attendees and probably some new people that actually are finding us on the web. Regardless of how you came to us, welcome, and I hope you check out some of the other tutorials. Also want to just encourage you, if you're a member of Facebook, become a fan of visualbroccoli.com, and we also have a channel on YouTube. Let's go ahead and just show you how this template looks and works in presentation mode. Then we'll go into the builder side of PowerPoint and show you how to make some simple changes to get the feel and the look that I'm demonstrating. Let's advance. Here is my game board. And I've just populated a few questions in here for this tutorial. Now down here, we do have an area to track scores. Now this is something you have to do manually. And by the way, there's two ways to change scores. And the easiest way to change a score, to reset it back to 0, is to open it up in presentation mode and click 0. So if you open it up and you see scores down there, simply type in there, hit 0. And you can also put minus scores, all that, but you have to manually do the scores. Okay, so let's go ahead and choose our first question. So this is set up as hyperlink. So when I set up the blue category for 100, it takes me to the blue question for 100, and I have my question. Now here's a template in there, and I'll show you in the builder site how we entered the questions. It's very, very straightforward. When I'm done or the answer is in, I want to reveal the correct answer, I simply click on the slide anywhere, just like I would in PowerPoint. It brings up the correct answer indicator. Now I can simply come down here and hit the home button to go back home, but I happen to know I have a summary slide to review. Any of you coming in here, seeing my live session, you know I like to go beyond the question and the answer when I'm using games to teach. So I put additional information. In this case, I brought in an image. Now, of course, I can use a standard PowerPoint template here just with text or whatever I want. If you go too far, you will get a reminder like this saying, hey, basically, you've gone too far. Click anywhere here to return to the main menu. So I'm going to do that, and I'm back. Now you see road safety for 100 has been used, and we go to another category. Now, look what happens when I click on road safety for 200. It takes me not to the question slide, but to a preview slide that precedes the question. And I'll show you how to do this in the builder. But I like to use a lot of preview slides to set up questions. I don't like real long questions. So sometimes if I have to break my question and there's 2 sentences in a question, I will use the preview slide to set up my question. So when we go to the question, it simply is asking a question. Other ways I like to use preview slides is I like to bring in additional information that's related to the question, or allows me to spread teaching points or additional teaching points throughout a game. So if I click next, I get my question here. You see it's related, and click next, it shows the correct answer. And again, I have a summary slide here. Click next, it reviews with additional information. And I click the home button here to take me back home. And now I can go ahead and apply the points. That's simple. Now, let's go into the builder and just show you some of the functionalities of setting up your questions. So here's the game board template as it is when you first open it. One recommendation is, before you start building, go ahead and file, save as, and make a new instance of the game so you can keep the actual template, clean. So that being said, let's just show you a few basic things here. This shorter game, and there's 2 versions of this, one with 25 questions with 5 categories and one with 3 categories. They all work the same way. But in the shorter version, you notice there's actually 3 categories, and they're color-coded. This color-coding reference is primarily for you when you're building your games. So each, for blue, for example, has 3 questions, red has 3 questions, and green has 3 questions with 3 different values. So let's go down to blue for 100. So I'm going to go slide, kind of advance through the PowerPoint presentation until I get the question for blue for 100. Now, I can go in here and just type, copy and paste, or type in my question. And I'm just going to paste in a question. And actually, one thing I want to do first is, I know this is going to be a true and false question. So before I type in my question, I'm going to right-click on this, And anywhere in the open space, so I'm doing in the gray here, I want to click on layout. And I want to choose from the layout a different answer option. And I actually have 4 or 5 answer choices. You have 4 different answers here, 2 answers, 3 answers, 4 answers, up to 5 answers. But you can also use an open-ended as well, which means it doesn't follow any template. You can put whatever you want in it. I want to choose 2. Now I'm going to go ahead, paste in my answer or my question, which I have copied in my clipboard, and the options are true and false. Now, false happens to be the correct answer, but if true is the correct answer, I'm going to take this check mark and move it in front of true. And that's it. But I want to add additional information to follow that question, so I'm going to just paste some information and just bring this up here. And maybe I'm going to bring in an image and have this precede, or actually, correction, will actually follow the question. So it's just a way, so when I go through this question and answer it, then I can just advance forward 1 slide and talk about additional information. Now, again, as long as I don't use a preview slide, I'm good. I don't have to do anything else. If I want to add a preview slide, which I'm going to bring an image in for that, so maybe I want to add additional information as a separate teaching point or something that's going to set up my question, whatever the case may be, I'm going to bring an image in. I need to do something with the hyperlink. So this is why you need to know at least the basic fundamentals of hyperlinks. So I'm going to use this preview slide. Now, this is preview for 100. So let's go up to my game board. Let's choose my question here, and I'm just going to choose that image again. Make sure it's the square, not the text itself, but the box. Right-click, and maybe do it twice. I'm going to edit hyperlink, and you notice it's again going to the question. What I wanted to do this time around is go to the preview. So it's going to preview Blue 100. So when I'm in presentation mode, when I click on this, it will take me to the preview slide first. That's it. Nothing too complicated. If you don't use preview slides, these are already set then to go to the appropriate box. Once you're done with that, I'll just reference the score, which I talked about on the when we were in presentation mode. You cannot edit the score in here. If you did keep score using this format, it will actually be preserved in the side, and you cannot edit it by clicking on the box. The way to edit it here, again, the easiest way is in presentation mode, but if you want to edit it here in the builder, right-click on it, go to Properties, and right down here, you see the text. 0 is what it should be, so if it said 100 or something else, just go ahead and put 0 in there, and that'll change it back to that. So just be aware of that. And our final note before I leave you here is the number of teams. You've got a few different choices. By default, I set it for 4 teams. You could copy and paste and make up to 10 teams. It gets a little cluttered, but you certainly can do that if you want to do that. But I'm not going to cover that. But I will talk about real quickly a simple way if you want to drop from 4 teams to 2 teams. It just looks cleaner. If you're not going to have 4 teams, you're going to use 2 teams. It looks cleaner, just get rid of it. So what I would do is do this. Get rid of Team 2. Get rid of Team 3. And just rename this one Team 2. And now it's balanced out, and you have 2 distinct teams, and you just have a nice balanced look to your game. That's it. Look forward to some other tutorials we got coming out, and basically how I made this template from scratch. I'll be starting that very soon. But until the next time, I hope you find unique ways to make your presentation more editable